Hi everybody, I'm Joe Linder, President and CEO of Joe's Phenomenal, and I welcome you back to the channel. Today we're going to be doing something near and dear to my heart, which is chili. I love chili. And today we're going to be making a fantastic recipe for ground turkey chili. We're going to be doing that in a slow cooker also, so basically if you've never used a slow cooker before, you're going to like this. We take the ingredients, we're going to throw them in the slow cooker, and leave.
Now why don't you make like a tree and get out of here? It's leave, you idiot! Make like a tree and leave!
And that's pretty much it. And then we're gonna come back hours and hours later, stir it up a little bit, and hopefully we're just good. So let's get into this. Okay, to start this out, you're gonna set your slow cooker on low, which means this is a long game type of recipe. It's gonna take a long time, probably between 8 and 10 hours. If you wanna cook it fast, you can set it to high, and that'll cook it in about half the time. However, you're gonna have more depth to the flavor of everything if you go ahead and just do that on slow. So if you got the time, do it on slow. This is something you'd wanna do early in the day, get it started, probably in the morning sometime, and then leave and then come back, and by dinner time you got chili. So let's get some of these ingredients in here. Just as a reminder, don't worry, I'm not going to be telling you exactly how much of anything to put into this recipe. Everything is going to be down in the description of the video, and that will tell you what I'm putting in, how much, and so on and so forth. So it'll be very, very, very easy for you to follow. Okay, so we'll put the turkey in first. Basically just have this ground up. You can just put it all right in there. You're going to put the turkey in raw. That's perfectly fine. No problem.
And then?
The next ingredient is going to be our diced onions.
And then?
Follow that up with the celery.
And then?
Next we have our green peppers.
And then?
That will be followed by our mushrooms.
No, that's it.
And then?
And then the diced tomatoes. Next you're going to want to kind of mix things up a little bit just to kind of even it all out. You can do that with this because this, you can do that with this because this ground turkey is not going to have any problem cooking. Normally, if you got a big slab of meat, you're not going to be able to do this, but it's perfectly fine. Next, we're going to add in the beans. I'm using a combination of pinto beans and kidney beans. I distribute those around here. I can just leave those on top. You don't want to dig in this too much. You don't want to be breaking the beans up. So just be careful when you stir this in.
And then?
Okay, the next ingredient is our sliced jalapenos.
And then?
And then our green onions. Let's distribute those kind of around a little bit. We're getting a little full here. So this is a pretty big recipe. This is going to make a lot of chili.
And that's it.
And then?
Next, we're going to throw in our dry herbs. So you've got oregano, you got parsley,
And then?
you got some thyme,
And then?
No! No, and then!
and a little black pepper,
And then?
No, and then!
some celery salt,
No and then.
And a little bit of stevia.
And then.
No and then.
And then.
No and then.
So our next ingredient is actually one of our dressings. It's our Joe's Phenomenal Tangy Sun-Dried Tomato Vinaigrette. This is very similar to something like a tomato sauce with sun-dried tomatoes. This is primarily a salad dressing, but it works great as a marinade. And especially as an ingredient for a sauce. Anything that requires a tomato sauce, this works excellent for. So we're gonna go ahead and shake this up and let's put this entire bottle in here. So this is 16 ounces worth. That's really all the sauce we're gonna need on this. And just let that sink in. Now, what is that sun-dried tomato dressing, you ask? Well, it is one of our dressings that we make here at Joe's Phenomenal. All of our salad dressings and marinades are things that we pride ourselves on. Ultra low calorie, very low sugar, low carbs, low fat, no artificial ingredients, no chemical preservatives, no nothing. And we found a way to make them not only be healthy, but taste really great too. Everyone that tries them loves them, and it's something very close to our hearts here because we actually created these actually back in the day when I was trying to drop weight.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! I'm bigger than you, I'm higher in the food chain! Get in my belly!
I couldn't find a salad dressing that tasted good that didn't have any calories in it or had very low calories. They all tasted horrible to me. And to me, that was one of my big deals. And if you're trying to drop weight, one of your main things you're going to be eating is salads. And what people don't realize is that a couple of tablespoons of ranch dressing or even low-calorie ranch or any of these major manufacturer ones, they got enough calories in them to where if you're putting more than a couple of tablespoons on there, you're adding an awful lot of fat and calories and all sorts of other stuff to your salads. And a lot of times, those salads end up having more fat, more calories, more everything in them than a meal would have had if you just skipped the salad altogether. I mean, I've seen salads at places like Cheesecake Factory that have got 14, 15, 16, 1700 calories in a salad. And you know, in that case, why not just have that steak? Because I mean, in that case, you're doing better. Okay, we have one more ingredient here, which is our tomato paste. Now, a lot of people don't know what tomato paste is for. Basically, it's kind of what the name says. It's kind of like glue. It holds things together. If you've got a sauce or a stew or something, and it's got a tomato base and it seems to separate really easily and it's not very thick, you can use tomato paste to thicken that up. And really what tomato paste is basically, it's, if you want to be very, very, very basic with it, really super highly concentrated tomato sauce. In our case, we are going to eschew that for now, and we are going to put that in a little bit farther along in the cooking process as we need it. We don't necessarily need it to be too thick. You have no idea how thick it's going to turn out just based upon the ingredients that we have, but you got to remember, everything's got water content. So this could end up soupy, it could end up not the consistency that you want. A little bit of tomato paste can cure that, but we don't really know how much we need until we get to the point where we need to add some. Our next step is going to be to go ahead and let's put that lid on here.
What are you doing? I'm burying you.
I'm alive! I'm alive!
You're waking the neighbors!
No.
Shut up!
No!
We already got it set on low. I'm going to crank that down. Wow, this is barely fitting here. Whoa.
Hey, that's what she said.
Hope you like chili, because this is going to feed a lot of people. Okay, now that we have this cooking, the waiting game is about to start. Don't worry. Through the magic of video editing, we're going to cut straight ahead to either the finished product or to the point where I need to add a little bit of tomato paste to thicken it up or something like that. On a related note, if you're enjoying the content here at Joe's Phenomenal, I'd appreciate you hit that like button down below. We'd really appreciate a subscribe. That's awesome if you could do that. And that way you would actually get to see all of our videos as soon as we publish them. Right now we're in the mode of publishing lots of videos really quickly because we really need to establish a base here since we just opened this YouTube channel a couple of weeks ago. And also, if you would like, leave a comment down below. We do our best to answer every comment and let us know like what you'd like to see here on the channel, and you can give us a critique if you make these recipes. We'd appreciate you writing a review down below of how it worked out for you. We're always looking to hear how people are getting on. All right, so it's been about 4 hours and we're gonna go ahead and open this up and take a look. It looks like we're going to need to add a little bit of the tomato paste I was talking about earlier. So let's kind of put that right in here. And we're going to go ahead and mix that in. You can see everything's really thick here. Most likely we're going to want to reduce this down a little bit. That should happen over the next few hours, but if it doesn't, we'll add a little bit of cornstarch or something at the very end to thicken it the rest of the way up. This next step is a little subjective. Go ahead and pop this back off. It's been about 8 hours, so we are done. It's looking pretty good. Now it kind of depends on how you like your chili. Do you like it really thick, or do you like it a little more like this, where there's a lot of moisture in there? It's really loose. I like chili on the thick side. So this step is going to be kind of up to you, is when you add a little bit of cornstarch. The cornstarch is going to thicken everything up, and you can add this in here 2 different ways. You can either just kind of fan it right in there and mix it in, or you could take it and you mix it with a little bit of hot water and then pour it in. The reason you might want to do that is because if you mix it with the water, you break up all of the cornstarch and it doesn't form into little dumpling looking balls or anything. Otherwise you need to be real careful when you put it in. I'm just going to go ahead and put it in here. So you just kind of fan it in like that, just a little bit at a time. And then you just take your time mixing it in. And just kind of mix that in there. And then I'll probably mix a little bit more. You do it slowly because you're going to see a big difference really fast as you're mixing this in. Just a little bit at a time. Don't get too ambitious by just throwing a whole bunch of cornstarch in there all at one time, because it's either not going to mix properly and you'll form into balls and stuff, or you'll over thicken your sauce. Now you can see how much thicker this has gotten just with that little bit of cornstarch I put in. And this is just about the way that I want this to be. Also, you might want to keep in mind that as this sits and reduces, or you put it in the fridge or whatever, it cools down, you reheat it, all that stuff, it's going to evaporate some more of the moisture out of it, and it's going to get thicker as well. So the way it sits here in the pot isn't necessarily the way it's going to be when you serve it. Once you've got all that mixed in, then you've got a completed chili product. I didn't actually add any sodium to this other than the celery salt at the very beginning. And it really doesn't need it. The tomato paste has got a little bit of sodium in there, and that was really all we needed to balance this out. Be careful with that. If you add too much salt, it gets to be a real pain to balance out the chili again after it's been over salted. With all that being said, our chili is finally finished. There you have it, the completed turkey chili recipe. Just a couple of side notes. I cooked it on the low heat setting, which means it took about 6 to 8 hours, someplace around there, depending on your slow cooker. If you put it on the high setting, you can cut that time down quite a bit if you need to get it done quicker, and it would end up being someplace between 3 and 4 hours total.
These go to 11.
The cornstarch at the end is totally optional. It all just depends on how thick you want your chili to be. Just remember, if you're putting it in there, like I showed you, put it in there just a little bit at a time, stir it in a lot, check the results, put a little bit more in if you need it, so on and so forth, rinse and repeat. Don't want to put a whole bunch in there at once, and you don't want to clump it in there. You need to have it spread out. Otherwise, it's going to form into clumps. It's going to look like little dumplings in there, and it's going to be hard to break it up at that point. All the ingredients are listed down in the description area of the video, along with all the measurements. Also, I'll be putting in, based upon serving size, fat content, calories, carbohydrates, sugars, all that stuff, so you get an idea of exactly how many calories are going to be in a bowl of this chili at a given serving size, along with the number of servings you'd be able to get out of this particular recipe if you did it exactly the way it is. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's a lot of chili, I don't need to make that much, because that's an entire slow cooker full of chili. If you just want to make a smaller amount, that's perfectly fine too. I'd recommend, if you're going to do that, to do a half portion, which would basically just take all the ingredients, cut them exactly in half, and you should get the exact same result. But just be really careful with the measurements on that, because it's the smaller you get, the more difference it makes in the recipe. Anyway, that's going to be it for now. I thank you for watching our video, and hope you make this recipe and enjoy this chili. Until next time, I'll see you soon. That's good. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you soon, and have a phenomenal day.